In the show Gossip Girl, there are multiple characters whose relationships cause Dan to expose himself as Gossip Girl. The relationship between these characters is so intertwined that it could be compared to a developmental pathway in genetics. In a developmental pathway, multiple genes are either activated, as shown here, or they are repressed due to being dependent on another gene to cause or trigger their transcription and translation, allowing the traits to be expressed or not expressed. Relating this concept back to Gossip Girl, as mentioned before, the relationships on the show are interdependent. Specifically, Chuck and Blair are in a relationship, Blair and Serena are best friends, Serena and Nate used to be in a relationship, and Serena used to be in a relationship with Dan. In the show, there came a moment where Nate was more determined than ever to find out who Gossip Girl was, and began an investigation. However, as the audience, we could tell he was down the wrong path, which could have led him to falsely accuse someone else, not allowing Dan to speak his truth or expose himself. Here we have the character's developmental pathway. They are represented as genes. In a normal developmental network without any mutations, the Chuck product activates the transcription of Blair, the Blair product activates the transcription of Serena, and the Serena product inhibits the Nate product, not allowing it to repress the Dan gene. Therefore, the Dan gene can be activated and expressed, its product being formed, and allows Dan to reveal himself as Gossip Girl. Another way to explain the process is by using this equation. However, what happens when there is a single mutant in the developmental pathway? For example, let's take the case where Chuck is removed. If Chuck is removed from the pathway, Blair would not be transcribed, and therefore Serena will not be as well, leading to Serena not being able to inhibit Nate and resulting in Dan not exposing himself. Now let's take a look at a single mutation where Nate is removed. Here, Dan would be able to expose himself because the Nate product is not there to inhibit or repress the Dan gene. Along with the possibility of a single mutant, there is a chance that there could be a double mutant in the developmental pathway as well. This is when there are two errors in the genes of the developmental pathway. Let's take the examples of the Chuck and Blair genes being removed. If those two gene products are removed, that means that the Serena gene cannot be expressed and is therefore unable to undo the inhibiting action that Nate is doing to Dan. As a result, Dan would not be able to expose himself as Gossip Girl. If the Serena and Nate genes are removed, however, the Nate gene product would not be there to inhibit the transcription of the Dan gene. This then allows Dan to expose himself as Gossip Girl.